This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Hey, welcome to Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. I'm Alex Dingman, and today Scott and I have a special topic. Kind of sounds like it's straight out of a video game. Now, this idea came from one of our faithful listeners. Thank you so much, and always send those thoughts in if you have them, 609-488-4646. But this person wanted more clarity on Brics. Now, let's jump into the world of Brics. Now, not the kind that we're building houses with, but something that could change the way some big countries play the money game. So first, Scott, what the heck are we talking about when we're saying Brics?
I'm glad you brought that up because, Alex, imagine Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa sitting around a giant monopoly board deciding that they want to start using their own monopoly money instead of the game of standard currency. You see, that's Brics for you. A group of countries teaming up and using their own currency instead of relying on the U.S. dollar, which is now very strong and very well. But, of course, the world's go-to currency, which is the USA, since World War II. That's a lot, Alex.
Well, that is really interesting, and I'm just kind of trying to think about this, those countries that are involved, interesting, but it sounds like it's kind of like they're coming up with some sort of secret club, some sort of members-only deal, secret handshake and all that, but why are they doing this, Scott?
Yeah, special...
Yeah, exactly.
Knock on the door.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you think, Alex, it's like when you and your friends decide you'd rather trade stickers instead of Legos. These countries think that creating their own currency will make up trading, of course, among themselves easier. That's been going on for a while. This is nothing new, and I've gotten some calls from clients. And, of course, I thought, Alex, let's face it, it's always fun to shake things up and to try something new, especially, if you could have more control of the game. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and
who's going to get control?
And I can see how that can make a little bit of sense. So it's kind of like a gamer deciding if they're going to go on console or PC, and people are going to have strong feelings about either one. But how does this really affect the people that are listening and they're saving up for something big like buying a house? How does this information affect them?
Real Brics, buying a house. That's the spirit, Alex. I think about, even though the countries are planning their own currency party, it doesn't mean our dollars will turn into pumpkin carriage at midnight. I think that's what one of the listeners called up, and he says, Scott, how will that affect us? What's going on? You see, the U.S. dollar will still be the currency you'll be using to buy your pizza pies and your Easy Bake Oven for your grandkids. The Brics currency is like adding another controller in the game. It really doesn't replace the existing ones right now. Could it change? It's possible, but not right now.
And if you have questions about this or any topics that we discussed, that number for Scott McLean and his wonderful team, McLean Advisory Group, here in Waretown, but serving New Jersey, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. So no reason for people to panic here. It sounds like Brics more about choices on the global stage than anything else, but what should people be focusing on with the talk of this new currencies? What is relevant?
I think, first of all, is relaxing and understanding really what's going on. While the world really does its thing and trying to figure out how can they usurp the U.S. dollar, we need to keep our eyes on your own financial health. Those of you out there, how are you faring out? How is your investments doing? You're checking your savings. Are you managing your budget? Is your interest, are you getting the best interest rate you can in your bank accounts, which we had a call with one of our clients this morning before this call. And really, as you build towards your own personal goal, your retirement goal, whether it's selling your house, getting a new house, going on vacation, or just maybe another big investment, focus For you listening, listen, focus on what you control, not what you can't control. And you'll be set in a matter of currencies is in your wallet right now. Now, that doesn't mean your advisor shouldn't keep you up to date. Obviously, we should keep our clients up to date. Right now, it's no big deal, but it is in talking matters, and that's what we can control. What's going on? And that's why at our firm, we look at the 3D process. How can we really help our clients be as safe or as well-informed as possible so you can enjoy your retirement?
Well, and Scott, one of your great values, too, is you're able to take this information and really put it in perspective for folks. And so this faithful listener, they wanted this information out about Brics, so they called in asking for more, and we're going to do this today. But that's really, one of your main values, Scott. Speak to that a little bit about, you're somebody who can take this information, whether it's the, national economy or we're talking here about the global economy and, on a world scale, but you're able to put this into perspective for folks and let them focus on what really matters as opposed to just hearing these things and maybe, going exactly to, the doom and gloom thought process that so many of us can do and we just don't have the answers.
And you're right. I think if you're older like myself, you remember 2000 to 2002, the market dropped almost 55%. Then 2007 to 2009, that was a cataclysmic tummy ache. A lot of people bought a lot of booze and a lot of Pepto-Bismol because they didn't understand what's going on in the market. So I get the understanding is our dollar going away. I get it understanding what's going to happen to our currency. I get it saying you're worried about your family. And then, of course, what about your kids and grandkids? I can't speak for that in the future. I just have to keep my eye on what's happening now and what the political position is. And we'll know more later on as we see the political showdown coming up pretty soon with the new presidency around. But I think about the Brics and I guess the biggest thing, Alex, people's out there, are you doing your financial planning? Are you doing your budget sheets? Are you addressing what's most important to you and your family? And again, I understand you're worried about the other countries that want to pull away from the U.S. And I think to happen overnight, I just don't see any way, shape, or possibility it could happen overnight. Now, that doesn't mean it can't.
Sure.
But I'm just saying that is just a huge transition of how we're buying our goods and services. So, again, if you've been doing your financial planning and maybe you've called our office at 609-488-4646, maybe you've asked me some questions off the air, or those of you who have gone in and texted me some information, and we want to make it well to you. And I appreciate a few of you clients calling about the Brics, about the dollar currency, but I don't want you to hesitate not to call our office and say, Scott, I need some information. 609-488-4646, because it's easy to put things off. It's easy to say, I'll get to it. It's easy to say, well, I'll think about it later, and it's off your mind. All of a sudden it shows up on the TV show, and now you're scratching your head and you're worried. Guys, if you're out there, women, are you out there? You're concerned. I'm here. I've been doing this thing over 40 plus years. I've been doing this and watching what's happened. Many of us have seen the economy shift. We've seen presidencies shift. We've seen the political world as well as this crap going on in the colleges right now. It's amazing. But are you set in your finances? Can you say you're bulletproof? Are you, if the market were to drop 30%, how would your portfolio hang out? How would it do? What's the beta factor of your portfolio, the risk factor? If the beta factor is high, you could be losing more money than you thought. And that is what we talk about to our clients. So again, commit to your own financial well-being. Commit to being proactive and approaching your investments. This is why people call us so often during the week, during these shows, Alex, is when they call our office at 609-488-4646. I'm here. Now, if I don't call you back right away, I will. My staff will make it available to you. But I can tell you, we're in some different waters right now, and you probably need someone who's on top of their game. That's what I can see challenging right now. People are not on top of their game. They're just pushing products and sales, but are they educating the clients out there?
You're somebody that's never going to, judge somebody harshly or look at somebody like they're dumb for some question. I mean, not everybody can be expected to know all these things, and like you and your team does. And so give that number out again and just encouraging folks, if they do have questions, concerns, that they can come see you and your team.
I'd love to hear from you if you're out there. If you got questions, we'll get the answers if we don't have them. How's that? And I can tell you, if you give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Any questions good and regarding the finances and your situation? And perhaps if you'd like to say, Scott, I need to know how we sit in our situation, my wife and I, or maybe you're single or you have a partner. How do we sit? How can we reduce taxes? How can we make our money last a good long time? How do we protect our money from the crows and the clowns and if something happens to us? And then again, how can I hide my assets or reposition my assets in case the nursing home wants to get them? How do you do it? It's real simple, 609-488-4646. This is all I do, and I love it.
Don't go it alone. Call Scott and his team, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Plenty more to come here on Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
Get all this stuff and you try to put it away like these hoarders on TV. It has an emotional attachment.
So, Scott, you're saying I don't have to keep every single drawing that my son has done? You're saying I could throw some of that away?
The answer is yes. You can take a picture, then throw it out.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman along with Scott McLean. And
That's
today,
right.
That's right, baby. Ready for us. Today, we're talking about 7 easy to avoid retirement risks. We're going to go through them. Easy to avoid. I mean, that's
easy, Alex.
That's
Alex,
what it's. I know nothing's easy, Scott. I know it's all relative, my friend. So maybe easy isn't the right word, but maybe it's possible to avoid these retirement risks. We at least can maybe do that. You know, people look forward to retirement, of course, all the relaxing and enjoying activities that we've not had the time to do. Maybe reading more, traveling, exercising, but as we transition into retirement, there's a lot of things that, well, we just didn't realize that we're going to be there when we crossed over that threshold as far as our way of living. Yeah. I mean, there are risks to that. I mean, that is one of the biggest fears, obviously, is running out of money. So let's go through these 7 easy to avoid risks. And if something resonates with you, if you have questions, give Scott a call, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. If you have questions, Scott is here to answer them. So, risk number 1, living too long. Explain that one, Scott.
You know, we all want to live long. You think about Methuselah. You think about in the Old Testament. There's only one guy actually kind of walked out of this picture in the Old Testament, and he didn't die. He just went on. I think about so many people. We all want to live a long life as long as it's healthy. And then, of course, challenges. When I was looking in the year 2000, I think 50,000 people, I think you gave me some stats also, that 50,000 people who lived to age 100 or older by 2050 is projected. So I'm kind of thinking about this, and that number is expected, by the way, to reach 1 million. So we're going to live a lot longer. I was reading a book called Life Force. Tony Robbins did. Wonderful book for those of you who really like to read and learn about the new stuff that's coming out, the scientific, the medical journey, what's happening in the supplements. Life Force is a great book you might want to get your hands on. as I was reading it, and we're going to live a lot longer. And the new stuff that's coming out is just amazing. These young kids and doctors that are really just coming around, but we're living too long. And I think that's, as I mentioned before, we're talking about the 7 easy to avoid risks. Well, it's not easy to keep healthy. You got to work out. You got to eat right. We all love sweets, which are very bad for you, but I love sweets. But the challenge is could you live too long? Maybe you think you're going to pass away. I've got a very close friend. We'll call him Raphael. And Raphael is a beautiful friend of mine for many, many years. And when we were doing this planning, he kept saying during the planning stage, well, Scott, my mom and dad died at 65 and 67. I'm 63. I probably will make it to 70. I've got a heart condition. I said, Ralph, my friend, what if you make it longer? Today, Ralph is 73 and he ran out of money. He doesn't have it left. He was burning so much cash in his portfolio. And I said, Ralph, please, you have to spend this. Scotty, I'm not going to make it. Well, he made it and he is still healthy. He didn't have his parents' ailments. So number one risk, if I were to say the 7 easy to avoid retirement risk, this isn't easy to avoid, but you work out hard, obviously. He's doing well. Don't run out of money.
Yep.
Are you planning to live a good, long life? I hope you are. And I think that's the hope and dream of that. So number one risk, living too long.
Risk number 2, as we're going through 7 easy to avoid retirement risk in retirement. The second one, explain this one, Scott, spending principal.
Boy, what a great risk number 2 as you think about living too long. Imagine living too long and you're spending the principal as my boy Ralph did. And you can spend principal without knowing it. In other words, the stock market goes up and your portfolio went up 20%. You say, well, heck, I'll just take out that 20%. And the next year, the market drops 15%, but you pull out the same amount of money, not understanding that reverse dollar cost averaging, as I mentioned in one of my segments in our shows, that you could actually burn down principal much faster. And the reverse dollar cost averaging, if those of you listening right now, if you're not clear on how reverse dollar cost averaging or dollar cost averaging works, please do yourself a favor. Please, if you have a pen and paper, write this down. Get ready. This is very important. If you're not sure how reverse dollar cost averaging is in light of dollar cost averaging, write this down, 609-488-4646. Again, 609-488-4646. I'd love to talk to you off the air because number 2 is very easy to avoid, meaning you're not paying attention. And when you're not paying attention to something, here you are living a long life. You got 30 years left, almost like a 30-year mortgage. And in reverse, you start paying the mortgage payments and you're not paying back the principal at all. Pretty soon, you start paying the principal and you're down to zero. My question to you guys out there, are you watching how the money is lasting? Should you reallocate? We spoke in our previous show. We talk about allocating your money in this volatile stock market. Perhaps you need to allocate your money to get some kind of vehicle that'll give you income for life for yourself or yourself and your spouse, your significant other. So both of you have a income that will last a good long time. Because what happens is if you're married out there, have a significant other, well, one of you, if you're married, are going to lose the Social Security. So your husband dies, wife dies, your spouse dies. The highest of Social Security transfers to the other, but you lost a significant amount of money. So I think that's really important. You think about taking a pool of savings worth, let's say, $1 million. You're generating 5% per year. That's $50,000, Alex. Now, Alex, you're getting $50,000 even if you just take a little bit more of that $50,000, just a small amount of your principal of your $1 million savings, it will be depleted. It will evaporate. So when people say, well, I've got a lot of money, well, okay, how are you spending it? Are you being frugal? Or in my family, when you're Jewish and Scottish, you're really cheapish. You really got to watch, am I spending too much principal? It's easy to do, Alex, very easy. So I guess number 1 was living too long, but then you're spending too much money. That's principle number 2. Be very, very careful, Alex. People need to be aware of that.
Man, the whole Scottish and cheap thing really resonated with me. You've never met my father, but yeah. And if he heard me right now, he'd be nodding his head. Yes, in agreement. 609.
No, my dad was the same way. My dad was very frugal.
Hey,
and he watched every dime. You didn't turn the lights out in the bedroom, you get yelled at. And if you don't do it the second time, you might get a little spanking. And I grew up in that. And I didn't understand it. I was pissed, really ticked off that he would get mad at me. But
sure,
I do the same thing with my kids. And now I'm a grandparent. If I see my little grandson turn the light off.
Well, those lessons that the great folks who lived through the Depression and the lessons that they tried to trickle down to people, and sometimes that ended up being your parents who then were telling you to turn the light off because of the bill.
If you'd like to get a copy of my book, The Three Blind Mice, How the Financial Planning Process Leads Your Money to a Mousetrap, please give our studios a call. We'll make it available to anybody. We'd love to help you as long as we have any left, because I think this book will guide you through all of the jungles and the quagmires, the ruts in the road. As you are in your investments with your investment advisor, you'll ask wise questions. So again, like to throw it out there, if you would like to give us a call at our office. Now, Alex, you were saying that the simple mistakes that people are making: number one, living too long; number two, spending down principal. And then I think you wanted me to talk about something that was really hitting all of us right now. What was that? Number three, Alex?
Inflation, and maybe underestimating it could be a risk for sure.
I bought my house in Ocean Gate, New Jersey, and I paid $42,500. And that was when my mortgage payment was right around, interest rate was around 13.5, and I was happy as a pickle in a barrel. And then I saw mortgage rates jumping up to 16 and 17%. You know what? I felt pretty excited. Then I saw the mortgage rates come so I could refinance and reduce my rates. But this is inflation in the worst and the best. So how do you take care of it? And so we're all feeling it. You're feeling it out there. When you go to the pump and you grab that nozzle, or if you're getting it pumped by yourself or having someone do it, and you look at the bill. And of course, I filled up my diesel the other day for $5.98 it was. And I just got 17 gallons, and I went, holy bananas. Not that we couldn't afford it. I don't want to overpay. Again, I said I'm very, very frugal. And so I always shop for the best price. Inflation has a way of getting away. Like the price I bought for my house in Ocean Gate, I bought it for $42,500 and sold it for $125,000 just 3 years later. I got lucky. You think about a baby coming out of the oven, beautiful little kid, beautiful child. God's blessed the child. No matter what condition it is, you're blessed with this beautiful infant. And later on in life, it grows. That's inflation on a child, from a little beautiful kid coming out. So now it's a older child. And so the question is, things change. How do you get around it? Well, we want the kid to grow, but we don't want to keep paying more for our products. And so I hear so many stories. It's the supply chain, Alex. The supply chain is so bad. That's why we have inflation. I heard that on the radio or TV from one of the government pundits. And there's so many quote unquote excuses, but it's still coming out of your pocket. When you live a lot longer, you're going to be going to McDonald's and you're going to get a Happy Meal. And pretty soon you're going to have to split that Happy Meal with your spouse because it's so expensive. And that's inflation. Inflation could really evaporate your money. When evaporate your money, A, you live too long. B, now you got to spend more money, or you're spending down principal. And three, inflation is I call it a hidden, the grim reaper. It just shows up, and that could be disastrous.
Scott, we have time for one more. We're going through 7 easy to avoid retirement risk in retirement. Before we take a break, let's go to risk number 4, staying invested in the stock market too long. We know staying in the stock market for a long time is a good idea generally, but what are we talking about if we're saying staying in too long?
The stock market has market cycles, and I've go this over every one of my workshops, Alex. This is unique that as we speak about the challenges, risks we have, what people don't understand is the stock market history. The history of the stock market has cycles. And if you've been to one of my classes, you've heard me from 1899 to 1921, the price to earnings ratio was around 30 and the market dropped. Then the market took off from 1921 to 1929. This cycle of the boom market took off, the bull market. And it was just from 1921 to 1929. This was a nice short period the market took off. Then it evaporated again and it dropped. And it dropped again from 1929 to 1954. If you're not writing this down, if you're driving right now, this is important. Not understanding the stock market cycles, which is a full stock market cycle, about 35, 36 years. So from 1929 to 1954, imagine pulling money out and the market's dropping for that 25 years. Then from you go that period of time, now we're going into a bull cycle in the market. When the market 1954, the market took a poop. Now it's going to come out 1966. The market took off. But then it turned back again. It dropped again. So from 1966 to 1982, the market didn't come back. It went nowhere from point to point. Imagine the stock market is at 1,000, and here it is. 25 years later, it's still at 1,000. How you invest your money, staying invested in the long period, for those of you in retirement periods or heading into retirement, this is critical. You pay attention to allocating or putting your money in the right buckets of money that will absolutely not evaporate, having income that we all deserve, we all want for the rest of your life. So this cannibalization of your money. And here it is from those of you listening right now, from 1982 to 2000 was the fastest bull cycle in the United States history. 1982 to 2000. I studied this because I was ready to get out of the business, Alex. I don't know if you know this. I was ready to leave the business in 2000 to 2003 when the market dropped 50%. And I was told by the big firm I was with, hang in there, don't worry, it'll come back. Why? Because they're worried about the company profits, not about my clients. Then here it is, 2000, the bottom of 2008. Well, what happened? Well, the market dropped from 2000 to 2003, came back by 2007 and broke even, then dropped again, which is people wasn't aware of, 60%, 60 by 2009. Everybody says 2008. Well, the bottom was 2009 and then came back. Imagine from 2000 to 2013, you made no money. 13 years of done. For those of you that are invested, not understanding market cycles, this is where you want to say, Scott, how does the market cycle affect me? How does it affect my inflation? Am I spending too much principal? Number two, and number one, am I outliving my area? So the 4 areas that Alex brought up with us today, if you're in that boat, please do yourself a favor. Do your spouse, your family, your kids a favor. Pay attention, because the next 3 areas we talk about, the unexpected events that are coming down the line, please don't turn me off now. You want to pay attention, because this is critical, because the biggest mistakes in retirement could be made because you're not paying attention, or the advisor's trying to sell you, not educate you. This is important. So please stay on your game. Pay attention to market cycles, as Alex mentioned.
And if you have questions, give Scott a call, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Going through 7 easy-to-avoid risks in retirement. We've done 4. We got 3 left. That is coming up. This is Financial Insanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. 4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Retirement planning, investment planning is a two-way street. It's got to meet. I need to understand the good, bad, and ugly you've been through so we can avoid those issues. This, to me, is very important.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Welcome back to Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman along with Scott McLean. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, and if you have any questions, give us a holler. 609-488-4646. 609-488-4646. Today, going through 7 easy-to-avoid risks in retirement. And we started this off by risk number 1, living too long. Risk 2, spending principal. 3 was underestimating inflation. And we wrapped up the last segment talking about staying invested in the stock market too long due to the different cycles that we know happen with the market.
Yeah.
So now, moving on, 3 left here. And our first one, another underestimation we can make. And in this one is in regard to healthcare costs. And I know that one's tough, Scott, because people always think that they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof until something happens. And so talk a little bit here about that risk, underestimating healthcare costs.
I went to the Florida and went water skiing, and I haven't skied in almost 35 years. I jumped in the water and I couldn't get up. I used to ski at Cypress Gardens. I skied all over the place, water skied. I jumped, I hang glide. I did a lot of fancy water skiing, and I was mad at myself I couldn't get up. I thought I was 18. In my brain, I was 18 years old.
Right.
My body was a lot older, even though I do work out and thought I was in shape. Boy, healthcare could be expensive. My buddy was saying he did the same thing, and he tried to jumpstart one ski, slalom ski, and he pulled his groin, and he was in the hospital. Healthcare costs, they come up suddenly. One day you feel great. The next day you can't even walk down the stairs. One day you feel like $1 million. The next day you feel like $1 bill or less. And I think the cost of the healthcare is extra. It's just amazing how it's gone up. Now the government's trying to fix that. And obviously it's going to continue going up. Hopefully there'll be no medications, new stuff for us. But this means for those of you who are retiring, you got to pick what medication plan, what Medicare plan you're going to pick up, what option is. We want to guide people with this area. And in those people in the 60s, currently the cost of family, the health care is right around $200,000. You figure the cost of someone being taken care of is home health care about $200,000. Let's say I'm wrong. Let's say you're going to stay home and have your kids take care of you. That's not going to happen most of the time. Maybe you want to pull money out and you're going to get a full-time health care worker that I have with one of our clients, and his wife has MS. He is taking care of his lovely wife, but he's got a full-time person. He's spending around $80,000 a year, and he's at his own house. So good quality health care. And you now you start throwing into an inflation. That 200,000 could easily be 800,000, or perhaps that 100,000 could be 400,000. It doesn't matter. It costs a lot of money. Pay attention to those areas. Please get in shape, work out. You know what's right to do. We all have 24 hours a day, I guess, and I'm talking to myself, by the way, Alex. Working that extra 1 hour a day, just working out, could be vital, and eating the right food. But healthcare costs are going out of control.
That is for sure. All right, risk number 6. Got 2 left, going through 7 easy-to-avoid retirement risks. This one here, Scott, changes in policies or government programs. Well, that never happens. What are you talking about?
It never happens. I think about they change policies all the time. They're giving away free money the last few years. Now we have rapid inflation because we got too much money chasing too few goods. Now we have another issue, inflationary, which is now hitting our health care, which we just spoke about. And now the government wants to reduce Social Security. You think about Social Security, Alex, it's already slated on the table to be reduced if they don't fix this deal.
Right.
And you think, wait, whoa. If I'm getting $1,000 a month and there's a 23% reduction, which is already slated, well, that means if I'm getting $1,000 a month, that means I'm getting $230 less.
Ugh.
Now, I don't know about you, but that means you have to drive one car, not two cars.
Right.
Or maybe buy a Happy Meal and split the Happy Meal with you and your lovely significant others or your kids. It's out of control. So when the government, so that's why we have to really pay attention and we have to vote. I'm not going to go on any Republican or Democrat or independent. You got to go out and vote, but you got to know the issues. And the issues for those of us that are getting older, like myself, Alex, you're a baby. You have nothing to know what I'm talking about, but you got a mom and dad. And the most important thing is, by the way, Alex, is your grandpa and grandma alive?
I do have a grandma who is nearly 100, my friend. Very, very close, knocking on the door of 100. So I do have a grandma on my mom's side, still kicking and loving to see her great grandchildren at this point.
Oh wow, that is I got bad genes. My genes are all ripped. My mom and dad died at 74, 75. My grandpa and grandmama, they died at 84, 85, and my mom's grandma died at 86. And my grandfather, my mom's side, he died in an accident driving a truck. So we'll just leave that one out. But I got bad juices. You got good ones. That's exciting. But for those of you who have maybe genes that aren't that exciting, maybe you go to Wrangler or Levi's, but that's not a gene I'm talking about. But the genes of course, government programs, how the government program could change and shift the way you're taking income, the way you pull money out of your 401ks or your IRAs, 403bs. This is a critical change. When the government says you inherit money from your parents, called an inherited IRA, and now you have to pull it out over 10 years. How do you structure, for those of you who are about to receive money, listen to me, and about to inherit money because maybe mom and dad or maybe a child passed away, sibling passed away. I deal with this all the time. This is all I do. And this is why you want to watch with the government, how you're going to be taxed. We talked about taxes earlier, but how you're going to be taxed on that money and how do you structure this in line of Social Security along with the government rules. This number 6, changes in policies or government programs could be really disastrous if you're not paying attention to this on a yearly basis, Alex. So please, if you want questions, by the way, I got answers. You got questions, I got answers. 609-488-4646. I'd love to help you with it. Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. I'd love to talk to you. Alex, what was number 7? I know there's 7 of them.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to bring it out.
Let's put a bow on this, my friend. Touchdown and an extra point. We got 7. Easy to avoid retirement risk. We laugh a little bit at the word easy, but we're going to go ahead and call this easy. But here's the last risk. Risk number 7, unexpected events. And you've hinted to this, Scott, but you can't plan for everything, my friend.
Can't, Alex. The unexpected events is one of the areas you live too long. We want to live long as it's healthy. You know, guys out there, the unexpected events, and I deal this all the time. The lovely spouse passed away, but they didn't know when they came in for a second opinion that they weren't going to get their spouse's pension. Unexpected risk, unexpected event. And now they're worried about living on cat food versus real food. Now, we also speak about this. I'm not making light of this because this could wreak tremendous havoc on people's lives when you're living on a nice income and all of a sudden it's changed overnight. One day you're healthy. A client came in here and now his beautiful spouse has multiple sclerosis. She was beautiful. She came in here before she had it. Today, she can't even sit up in a chair straight up and down. The disease came out of nowhere. This changes lives. Can you plan for it? No, you hit your knees and you go to the God above and say, hey, Jesus, I need help, or whoever you pray to. I need a plan. I need a game plan. For those of you, don't do it yourself. Get someone who's done it for so many people. Or maybe you have an estate issue. Will, power of attorney, living will, and you go to the hospital and your mom and dad are probably sick or something, and you go there to help them and you don't have the power of attorney for healthcare matters or the power of attorney for financial matters. This unexpected event will pay attention to all the details. So, Alex, and for those people that are younger listening, guys, Make sure your parents' legal documents are up to date. Oh, by the way, make sure yours is up to date. Dust them off. Take a look. We don't know what life has. We don't know what's given. The grass withers, the flower fades. But I can tell you that the word stands forever. I don't know where you guys stand out there listening to me, but in a wonderful season we're in, we're feeling good today. Okay, great time to plan. Let's plan for the good, the bad, and what's that movie?
Yeah.
The ugly, right? So, and I think when you think about this, because we don't know what lies ahead, because I can tell you the loss of one income from a spouse could be disastrous, or maybe having to take care of your mom or dad and didn't think you had to, and now you have to leave work early. We've gone through that with our clients. I wasn't planning on retiring, Scott, at 61. I know you in our notes, it says you want to retire at 65, 66. Well, my mom needs my help, and I'm going to be taking care of her.
Yep.
Game changer.
And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's the adult child that
oh my
needs
goodness,
more
that's
help.
exactly right. We have special needs kids out there that have to be taken care of. All of a sudden, your child maybe gets in a traffic accident. Now you're raising their kids, your grandkids.
Sure.
Life has a way of sometimes could not unfair, but it seems unfair.
Yeah.
It's what's in the cards. Guys, we just spoke, and Alex brought up in the show 7 issues, 7 concerns that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Concerns that are really important to you as we plan, as we go into a new segment of life, procrastination, or as you're planning for your future, as those going into retirement. We spoke about it. And let me give you a quick rundown, as Alex did very well. Number one, we talked about your monies, and we talked about several different risks. If you're concerned about your money, that's all we do. 609-488-4646. Seems simple. Seems like you'll never forget it, but it happens. Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. I'm here for you. Guys, I'm right around the corner, right across from ShopRite. You'll see the beautiful building, the Lighthouse. We're here. We're for you. Thanks for taking time with us. We wish you the very best. I hope this is helpful for you guys, as we talk about the risks, the 7 risks in retirement.
Yes, and Scott, you did such a great job going through them. Risk 1, living too long. Risk 2, spending principal. Risk 3, underestimating inflation. 4, staying invested in the stock market too long. You had 5, underestimating healthcare costs. 6, changes in policies or government programs. 7, unexpected events. And if you have any questions for Scott, you can give him a call always at 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Just add a .com for the website. And
Great job, Alex.
We have more Financial Insanity with Scott McLean coming up.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment. The egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
Lots to think about when you're heading into retirement. One of those things is whether or not you should continue working. This is the retirement yay or nay segment. So, a survey by Express Employment Professionals, a staffing agency, indicating 79% of workers between 57 and 75, 79%, nearly 8 out of 10, say they would rather be semi-retired rather than fully retired. Scott, does that make sense? And what are some possible pros and cons to this kind of approach?
What a crazy statement. I remember I laughing because I'm thinking about mom and dad. And I remember when daddy retired and he calls me up. I'm in New Jersey. He's in Florida in Jacksonville. And he says, son, I got to get a job. I said, but daddy, you're retired. Son, I want you to understand I love your mother. I just can't be around here all day.
Hey, you got to be honest in relationships,
And I started laughing. I didn't understand. I was a lot younger than I am now. And, good thing mom and dad are in heaven hanging out waiting for me.
Okay.
God, good news, they can wait. But that stays in my mind when you made that statement because, first of all, I don't know how people can turn the engines off. Me, I'm looking at expanding my firm, but other people are enjoying their retirement. God bless everyone. The question is, when you retire, the hard challenge is, should you keep working? Well, find something. If you love your job, then frankly, you're not working. That's me. I don't have to work. We're blessed enough. I love our clients. I love people. I will continue to work until God calls me home, as far as it looks right now. Luckily, he hasn't called me. The second thing is other people maybe want to try a different vocation. Maybe they go from being a nurse, a doctor, maybe they're a toll collector. Maybe they're a sanitation engineer. Well, that's okay, but they want to do something else and they want to find something. So maybe they want to work. So I can't answer that question for anybody here, but dadgummit, my best friend in Jacksonville, Florida, Dale, always makes fun of me because I want to work 100 miles an hour. That guy could sit in his yard, sit around the campfire and have a couple adult beverages and enjoy life. Good old Southern boy. We grew up since age 6. And he always makes fun of me and teasingly because I'm 100 miles an hour. Difference of personalities. Dale likes to rake his yard. I like talking to clients. I can afford someone to rake my yard, but I love talking. So what is your vocation? Don't just leave to leave. There's got to be a compelling reason. Maybe you want to travel with your beautiful spouse or husband, wife, and maybe you want to take a trip. Maybe you want to take care of dogs and or cats, and maybe you want to get in that. Maybe you want to go out and maybe start a lawn service part-time because you love taking care. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, you better have some type of game plan because you could be watching Price is Right, and that crap gets older, I can tell you. For sure. So let's say you're 65 years old. You want to go from company A and you have a 401k and you want to go to company B and it has a 403b. Well, and you love your work. One mistake I found is you roll the money over to an IRA. Now, why would that be a mistake? Well, maybe you plan on working a long time. Maybe you should roll it over to the new company if they accept it, so you don't have to take the required minimum distributions at 72. Now, frankly, if you don't think you're going to be working until 72, then you roll it over to an IRA, and you've got a lot of universal products that you could buy or get involved in to protect your money. In these times right now, whether they're good times or bad times, you need to invest that money. So whether the question number one is, if you're going from job A to job B, should you roll over the money to a plan? Next thing is what choices they give you. This is really important. And in retirement, you know what? If you love what you do, find something else. Speak to your spouse or a significant other. If you're by yourself, maybe you want to go mountain climbing or water skiing like my sport, or just hang gliding like I did. I can tell you there's a lot of fun things, but you got to figure out what you're going to do, and what kind of fun is it going to be?
Maybe you need a first opinion. Maybe you need a second opinion about whether you should keep working, how much in retirement. Either way, Scott can be reached at 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646 at .com for the website. So earlier, we'll just call it 80% of workers between 57 and 75 said they'd rather be semi-retired rather than fully retired. So Scott, I mean, is this just the end of retirement as we know it?
No, and I think the biggest thing is, and what we spoke about, Alex, is, I think forgot to bring up the health coverage. The insurance is before you leave work. You may just want to stay there and get the health coverage because maybe you're 63 years old.
Sure.
And Medicare is not kicking in until 65. And the health insurance could be as expensive as ever. So I forgot to bring that up as a downside of retiring. Maybe you get a part-time job that offers health benefits. This could be beneficial. And what if you have a wonderful spouse who has no health coverage? Or like my conversation, we were putting a trust together for a client, and they have a special needs son. He's on the insurance. Well, that's a whole nother world on the area of part-time or full-time, whatever. Now, other areas of part-time work, Alex, I'm not sure, but you think about taking Social Security too early. Should you take it or not too early? Should you keep working? And so I don't want to leave that out. I think I might have left it out a little bit before. I hate to. There's so many choices that could drive your money in the ground. And especially if the stock market is dropping, it could really cannibalize your assets and make you have to work.
Well, and Scott, people generally are healthier, generally living longer, and therefore could possibly have a longer retirement. Where in the past, 10, 20 years, maybe it's 20, 30 years. And so you have to account for that, Scott. And that's just a longer amount of time, obviously, to have a steady paycheck or something there to fill that gap. And so that's what makes this so interesting. You don't want to just retire, have nothing to do for a lot of reasons. Financial is definitely one of them, but also, like you hinted to earlier, a lot of it's just mental as well, and your physical health, and giving yourself some purpose and keeping that brain sharp.
That's so important. The purpose. Maybe the purpose is those of you right now that are in or near retirement. Maybe you're in retirement. You need to find a new hobby. You need to try a new sport or maybe a new venture. Maybe you need to try go out, you and your significant other or spouse, or meet new friends, be around people. Don't just cavitate yourself, lock yourself into your room. Just get out and enjoy what we've been so blessed with, this beautiful country. I mean, we could talk about the Democrats and Republicans and get all stuck in the muck and not enjoy life. This is disastrously depression. Leave the politics aside and just be a friend. Just love on people. We're allowed to have our own opinions. And when people aren't allowed to have their own opinions, get away from those people. If they don't respect you, then you don't need to be around each other. We all need respect. And especially times like this, coming out of the COVID area, coming out of the, being isolated. Oh my gosh, it is so many devastating things that are come down the line because of this. Get out and meet people, understand what you're doing. But again, as you said, be very careful with your money because we're living a lot longer. And by taking out too much money in the go-go years, are you going to have enough money in the slow-go years? Are you going to run out of money? And we talked about that in several of our shows, Alex, called reverse dollar cost averaging, where you have to pull a lot more money out. You have to sell a lot more shares just to get the same income. So positioning your money to last a longer time so you have a income that will last the rest of your life. That's why people call us at our studios. Scott, how can I have that income that will last the rest of my life so I can put my head on my pillow and say, I can sleep well at night? 609-488-4646. I'll be able to talk to you if you'd like and maybe help you with some of those areas of concern. I'd love to talk to you. 609-488-4646 before you make the arduous decision. Where do you invest? Should you retire, not retire? And what are your options? There's a lot to discuss, Alex. Guys, I was thinking about this gentleman who went back to work to celebrate his 100th birthday. This one guy in Jersey, however, decided to do exactly the opposite. His name is Bill Hansen, and he celebrated his 100th birthday by returning back to his work, which he diligently for 32 years loved. And so Fred Hutchinson, the CEO of Hutchinson Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, well, he signed an agreement to go back to the work for one day. and he welcomed with a big birthday cake and a full day of assignments. He loved it. And he took off about 15 minutes after we signed the agreement. He said the agreement, he got to work, and the Hutchinson said he had to spend a lot of time where he could be at the company before he retired at age 97. He didn't have much to say for retirement life. He said, quote, "I hate being retired. I never had a job where I didn't want to go to work in the morning." Hansen said, and he attributes much of his happiness in life to his love of his work, his wife, and his family. You see, for retirement, it could be forever. But what is your forever? Is it working? Is it enjoying life? It's about what you have and the quality of your life. Quality of your life, psychologically we spoke about, emotionally, and financially. Can you do it? Make that decision. I'd love to talk to you. 609-488-4646. This is important.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.